There were several panel discussions in the conference. Shanta Gokhale, Meta Vasisht, Himani Shivpuri, Rosemary Jones, Vanessa Adam Harris participated in the panel discussion on challenges of modern acting. Vasisht spoke about the representation of the female form, the sensitive and unself-consciousness, hence aesthetic presentation, as opposed to viewing women as bits of anatomy. She criticized the portrayal of a modern woman as a single, smoking, drinking, childless by choice woman waiting for her married lover to arrive, as a most puerile one. Jones said it was time to decide who would determine the way theatre would be going, the theatre maker or the theatre critic. Shivpuri wrote that finding good plays, good actors, willing to devote time and energies to theatre, or enough women playwrights, was a challenge for theatre today. Experiences of theatre practitioners who used this medium for a cause came to fore in the panel discussion on Theatre with Difference that was organized on 3rd November. The panel was chaired by Julie Hollidge, a reputed playwright and steering committee member of WPI from Australia. Women in prostitution do not necessarily consider themselves victims, though the society views them so. These women do not need pity and charity, but empathy like any other marginalized human being, asserted Bishakha Datta, an activist from the organization Point of View. Datta was sharing her experiences about making and staging a play by sex workers at a panel discussion on the subject Theatre with a Difference. Ratna Pushpakumari, a committed theatre activist from Sri Lanka who has reached out to thousands of children in her country through children's theatre. Kanjan Sontake of Natyashala Charity Trust, who has used theatre as a medium for the development of underprivileged children, found theatre activity to have a therapeutic effect on troubled children.
That my crying and my insistence that I want to participate very, still till now.
Is presenting reality the only purpose of theatre, or are its roles as a showcase for creativity and a mode of entertainment of equal value? This question provoked much comment at the panel discussion on future hope in theatre. Sanchi Jivne, a teenaged playwright from Nagpur and the youngest participant at the conference, Fiona Wheeler, a young playwright from Australia, and Vandana Khare, who has translated the Vagina monologues into Marathi, were the panelists at the discussion. The panelists also reviewed the shortfalls of the current theatre scene, a bias towards commercially successful, though not necessarily meaningful drama, and the difficulties faced by women writers and directors while trying to make a mark in this male-dominated field. Non-availability of female actors is our greatest problem. We perform under difficult conditions and are doubly oppressed by feudal patriarchy as well as by the Islamic dictatorship, said Madiha Gohar, one of the few female directors doing theatre in Pakistan. She was speaking at a panel discussion on pain and pleasure of women directors. Panel member Usha Ganguly expressed satisfaction that women in theatre have had the fortitude not to compromise their voice and values in the face of market forces. On the contrary, they have retained and expanded their space. Margaret Skantz from Sweden added that it was not merely numbers of women that were important. A distinct female gaze also needed to be expressed. This means projecting female dignity and not just their sufferings. Dennis Walsh, a teacher turned playwright who has presented youth issues through her plays, was also on the panel. which was chaired by noted thinker Pushpa Bhave.
When we're talking about pain and pleasure of a woman being a director, does really the perception change?
The panel discussion that followed was perhaps one of the most pertinent sessions of the conference. Discussing theatre for social change were Mangai and Anju Utpal from India, Marily and Malu Jacob from Philippines. The discussion was chaired by Anjum Katiyar. Theatre has always been a forum to give powerful messages, said Katiyar, and we need a review of theatre making to evaluate how theatre could serve better as a medium to bring about change. We must also examine whether social theatre is too strident, whether it is preaching to the converted, whether aesthetics are being sidelined by an overemphasis on the message, she said. Mangai, a theatre person as well as a respected social activist, increasingly felt that the plays which discussed social evils might actually have a limited impact on the ground. In such plays, she said, the performer-audience relationship should be well thought out. Are we to be a messiah offering prescription, or are we catalysts? She wondered. Anju Utpal, who works with Media Matters, has staged plays for social organizations that want to offer fixed, only option kind of messages. She said the experience is more rewarding when one involves the audience, invites it to give feedback, goes back to the script, and reworks the content to include their views. Malu Jacob of Philippines ascertained that it was unreasonable to expect that everybody would have empathy for causes. But it is possible to create this empathy through one's work. Marily raised the question, are we looking for reform or revolution through social theatre? And candidly opined that theatre is not an adequate tool of social change, at least in the Philippines. In the next session, Margaret Scans related the audience how her play Black Madonna had evolved from her interactions with other women playwrights at the previous WPI conferences she had attended. She then presented DVD excerpts from this play, which depicts Mary, mother of Jesus, as a widowed mother of 8, trying to raise her family in the midst of Roman occupation of her country. Regional media, national newspapers, television channels covered the conference. The conference was attended by about 75 delegates from all over the world and 200 Indian participants working in the theatre, irrespective of race, caste, class, age, ethnicity, religion, to endeavor, encourage and assist the development of their works and enrich the global culture. In addition to this, 60 students of Academy of Theatre Arts and 100 volunteers of Stree Mukti Sanghathana worked hard to make this event successful. Each day was filled with intrigue, introspection, and reflection. The conference was a presentation of art and thought. There was wit, humor, passion, compassion, joy, and sorrow. People returned enthused to explore new horizons, richer in thought, and eagerly waiting to meet each other again at the next conference in Stockholm in 2012.